Do you want to know how to use your social media marketing competition to increase reach on social media? In the next few minutes, I'm going to answer the question, can I monitor competitors' social media on Metricool? My name is ELISE Nelson, and I help tech challenge makers build a profitable e-commerce brand. Thanks for joining me on my YouTube channel, where I offer lessons that are 15 minutes or less to help you grow your e-commerce shop. In this short video, I'm going to share with you how to track social media marketing of your competitors to give yourself an advantage in this Metricool Analytics tutorial. All right, before we jump into this maker lesson, I'd love to know if you pay attention to what works for your competitors. Why or why not? Leave a comment and let me know. Now, we are going to talk about why you should be tracking your competitors in just a moment, but first, I want to talk about which social media accounts you can track on Metricool. So for your competitors, you can track all sorts of accounts on Metricool, but specifically for your competitors, you can track on Facebook, you can track on Instagram, you can track on Twitter, and you can track on YouTube. So the 4 platforms that you are able to track your competitors on Metricool are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Now, for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you can use the username for the account. On Facebook, you can also use the URL of the account. For YouTube, you have to use the URL that has the channel ID. So let me show you what I am talking about. All right, so this is my channel, and you can see that when I look at the URL, it says youtube.com/channel, and then a bunch of gobbledygook at the end. That is the actual channel ID. The URL actually says channel in it. This is what you have to have for the brand that you want to follow as a competitor in your YouTube account on Metricool. So let me show you an example of one that does not have this type of a URL and how to find what you need. All right, so this is another channel. This is Pack Hacker. I'm going to be using them as one of my competitors. We're going to talk about exactly how they're not a competitor, etc. in just a moment. But suffice it to say, if you look at the URL, it says youtube.com/c/packhacker, which is the name of the channel. If this is what you find, you cannot use this to track your competitors or to track another brand. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to right click and go to View Page Source. Okay, and it's going to come up to something like this. And you're going to click in it, and then you're going to hit Control F to find, and you're going to paste in youtube.com/channel, okay? And it's going to highlight random weird stuff. You're going to have to go down about 3 or 4 clicks, and then you'll find an actual clickable link. Okay, here we go. So it's actually like 5 or 6 clicks. Then you right click on that, you can copy the link address. And then that will actually allow you to add a competitor. So here we are on YouTube. I've clicked on competitors to go all the way to the bottom. That's the same as just scrolling down to where it says competitors. And I want to start tracking this brand. So if I click on add and I paste in that URL that I just got by using page source, you're going to click on add, and you'll see that it was able to add it right here. But if I use the actual one here with Pack Hacker as the name, it does not work. So that's how you're going to get the correct link for your YouTube. Now, one thing worth noting about the YouTube channel, if you want to follow other people's accounts, is that you can only have 10 competitors. So if you want more than 10, you would have to change these out. But the subscriptions right here will start at nothing. It'll say 0. It takes it some time to get those numbers. So every time you delete things out, you have the potential of losing that information. So just keep that in mind before you start switching these brands out. On the other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you don't have a limit of 10. This is just specific to YouTube. Now, before we jump into the rest of this lesson, please like this video. Also, be sure to stick with me to the end of the video to learn your challenge for today and implement what you have learned. We're going to be talking about the advantages of tracking social media accounts in just a moment, but before we do that, I want to talk to you about how you can find accounts to track if you don't already know who to track. So first of all, you can brainstorm brands. So this would be like competitors. So if you know of direct competitors in your industry, you can definitely track them to get the information that you need. However, you can also track coordinating brands. So for example, if you sell jewelry, you might decide to track someone who sells jewelry stands or jewelry boxes. They are not your direct competition, assuming that they don't make jewelry as well, but they definitely go to the same audience that you are looking at. For me, that's why I have Pack Hacker. So for Carry Clips, which is my brand, I do water bottle holders, phone holders. They are specifically geared towards travelers or people that like the outdoors. So Pack Hacker is a site that's all about travel. Hiker J is another coordinating brand. This is a gentleman who does reviews about different things that you could use while you're hiking, so different products. So these are coordinating brands. Another coordinating brand might be a water bottle, because I sell a water bottle holder, which is why I've got brands like Yeti and Camelback. You can look at this from your competition or a coordinating brand that would have the same audience that you have. Another thing you can brainstorm is reviewers. So like I said, Pack Hacker does reviews, Best Gear Lab does reviews. These type of people, if they're doing reviews of your type of product, can be a really great resource for you to figure out who is interested in what you're selling. But you want to make sure that they're niched down. So you don't necessarily want to find a reviewer who reviews everything. You want someone that reviews specifically what it is that you make. So if you sold mattresses, you'd want a reviewer who only reviews mattresses, okay? Not that any of you make mattresses, but I just ran across someone that only reviews mattresses. You can also brainstorm influencers or bloggers. If they are putting out a blog post, a podcast, a YouTube channel specifically about the things that your people like or even your product, that is a great person for you to be following and tracking to see what they're doing and what they're talking about. You can also go to Amazon and search for your product. So if you make water bottle holders, like I do, I could actually search water bottle holders and figure out who my competitors are, figure out other things that come up when I search for that. And that's actually a really great way to find competitors or coordinating brands as well. Finally, you can search on Instagram, YouTube, or Pinterest with keywords that you would use to describe your product, hashtags that you use. You can even look up do-it-yourself options. So like I can look up do-it-yourself water bottle holders, how to crochet a water bottle holder. There's all sorts of options for that. And then you can even look up specific activities. So for example, for me, I might look up hiking. So any of these things can help you find either coordinating brands, influencers, etc., or your competition. So those are great ways to find your competition and brands that you may want to be tracking. Now, when you find brands, this is what I recommend. I recommend that you look for brands that have been active in the last month. So if you're looking on YouTube, that would mean they posted a video in the last month. If you're looking on Instagram, that means they've posted something in the last month. And they have at least 20 posts. If they have not posted enough things, videos, posts, whatever it is, to hit 20, they're not really putting out enough content for it to be useful for you to be able to follow them. And if they haven't been active in the last month, they're not putting out continuous content, you're not going to get any information back when you're following them. Now, if you want more help with your e-commerce brand, be sure to subscribe and sign up for notifications on this YouTube channel where I offer lessons that are 15 minutes or less to help you grow your e-commerce shop. All right, so now this is the big question that you guys have been waiting to hear. Why should you track other brands? Well, the long and short of it is, it helps you to understand what content gets the most engagement in your industry. When I say content, I mean both the creative, whether that's a video or an image, and the copy, what they say in that post, right? And one great way to do this is when you're tracking your competitors, you can look at the post list, tweet list, or video list in the specific platform that you're looking at. So right now we're on YouTube. So you can see right here, it says video list all. This will literally list out all the videos that these people have put up. And actually, if I click here on rows, you can see I have more than 5. That all of these people have put up in whatever time frame I have up here in the upper right corner. So if you change the time frame, you'll get different videos. So if I click on video list all, it's going to bring up all of these posts from all these different people who are my competition or my coordinating brands, influencers, etc. And I can actually look at the engagement that they got on each of these posts. So how many views they got, how many likes, how many dislikes, how many comments. If I want to try and create something that will get a lot of comments, one way is to look at them and see what got a lot of comments. So if I click on by the comments, it'll sort it. So now I've got this at the top. This had the most engagement over the last, whatever time period you put in the date on the previous page. So if this got a lot of engagement, lots of views, lots of likes, lots of comments. If I do something like this, it will probably get me lots of engagement. And so you can look and see if there are trends in what is doing well, right? You also want to take into account how big a brand is. So for example, I know that Lone Crow Adventures is a much smaller brand than Pack Hacker. So for this account to get anywhere close to the same engagement as this account is really something, because they're not going out to as many people. So keep that in mind as well. A smaller account is not going to have quite as high of engagement, but if it does, that means that is really probably something that people are interested in. So I'm going to close out of YouTube. Let's go ahead and look at Twitter. We'll just go up. So on Twitter, you have something very similar. It's of course not videos. So if I click on competitors, it is a tweet list. So if I click on the tweet list for Twitter, you're going to see a list of all the tweets that were put out by these brands. And again, we can see if they were liked, if they were retweeted. So if I sort by likes, I can see that this particular one was liked 130 times. And then if it's been retweeted a lot, that means people are really interested in it. So in this case on Twitter, I'm mostly following the same brands across all these platforms because I wanted to show you how this can be different. But on Twitter, you can see most of the ones at the top are from Hydro Flask. So if we change this to be a bigger number, you can also click these little carrots to go to the next page. I can scroll down and see if anything else. So here we got Yeti got up here. But so this shows you that on Twitter, these brands, Yeti and Hydro Flask, are the ones that are doing really well. So that again is a way for you to see what is trending, what is doing well, what is on topic for your industry. Okay, so now here we are in Instagram. Let's go to competitors. And you can see this one is called Post List because that's what you have on Instagram. So if we click on Post List, it'll bring up, again, the list of posts. You can see here we've got more of a mix as to what did really well. We can go by likes, comments, interactions, and engagement. Interactions is a combination of comments, likes, and saves. So just so you know what that means. Again, we can sort by any of these. And so clearly Yeti has a lot of interactions compared to the other brands. Let's go to the next page. There's Hydro Flask. Simple Modern showed up there. Okay, so for me, because these brands are so much bigger than the others, I'm not really getting a lot of mix. Like it's showing me everything. So I'm going to go back by date, and that way I can look at all of these different ones. So on here, the other thing you can do is you can actually click on the little view button, and it'll open up that exact post for you so that you can actually look at it. The reason this is handy is you can now look at what hashtags they used, and that hashtag could be the reason that they had eyes or visibility or engagement. And so that can give you some ideas for hashtags and keywords. You can also pay attention to if there's specific trends about what everyone is talking about. So if across several different brands, you notice they're all talking about back to school, like this example, then that may be a good thing for you to talk about as well. Okay, the other thing that you can look at here is you can look at the posting times. So if you look at this and you notice that they're all at noon for some reason, that may be a good indicator that if you post at noon, it's better. So like if I sorted this by likes, and like I said, on mine, on this account, it's kind of a mix or whatever. If I sort this by likes, oh, that's from lowest to highest. You may be able to see if there's a trend at posting at a certain time or not, meaning that you get more likes, or posting at a certain time means that you get more comments, right? And so this can be really useful information as well. Like as I'm looking at this, I'm noticing 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Now, at the same time, you have to pay attention, like these are all Simple Modern. So that's clearly just when Simple Modern posts. So that may not be an indicator of that. But if you see this across brands, it could be an indicator of a good time to post in your industry. You can also check for trends in post frequency. So if we go back to our main page, you can see how many posts they've had in that specific amount of time. So this is actually a very long time frame. Let's do the last 30 days. Make it a little easier. So if you're looking at 30 days worth of time and you compare how many posts they have, let's go ahead and change this to be bigger also. you might be able to see that there's a trend. So these are all right around 20 posts. You can see these two didn't have any. So if it turns out that around 20 to 30 posts is the amount of posts that everybody else is doing, it may be a good indicator that you should be looking at doing that same amount. Now, when I've looked on other brands, sometimes these will be like 60, 70, 80 posts in a month. And so then you have to really kind of pay attention. Is this something that you maybe need to try doing to see if it makes a difference in your engagement rates, your click-through rates, all of that good stuff? Other things you can do when you click on to open a post is you can pay attention to how they engage with their audience. So when someone comments, do they comment back? And this one they didn't. They didn't on any of these. So that kind of tells you what they're doing that you might be able to do better than them, or it can tell you what they're doing right so that you can replicate them. It's also a really good way to see how they talk. So are they funny? Are they serious? Are they caring? Because the way that you present yourself in your brand can really have a big impact on what your people think about you and how engaged they are. The other thing you can look for is holes in their strategy that you might be able to capitalize on. So when I was adding these competitors, these brands to my different accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, I noticed that several of them really doubled down on Twitter and some of them were not on Twitter. So this can be an indicator that some of them are missing an opportunity, in which case you should double down on that and take that over. Or it could be that they've discovered that it doesn't work. So especially if you're working with a really big brand, if that big brand isn't using a certain platform, there might be a reason behind that you're unaware of. So just take that information, take it in, and think about it. Then you can decide, am I going to try this or am I not going to try this, based upon what it seems like is working for others. Now, you need to make sure that you're setting realistic goals. If I tried to compare myself to someone like Yeti, I would be sorely disappointed because Yeti is a massive, massive brand. They have 1.73 million followers, and I can't compare to that. So you want to make sure that you're not expecting too little or too much of yourself. Don't expect to have exactly what someone else has, but give yourself a break. If there's another brand that is the same size as you and they have significantly fewer likes, comments, posts, and engagement, and you have more than them, that should give you a pat on the back. You should get yourself a cookie for that. If there is a brand that's the same as you and they're doing better than you are with likes, comments, engagement, and posts, maybe you need to consider that you need to try and step it up and do a little bit more or better, right? So be fair. Don't compare yourself to the big guys. Don't compare yourself to someone who's incredibly smaller than you. Compare yourself as far as the number of posts, the average likes per post, the average comments per post, and your engagement rate, which the engagement rate, in case you're not aware, is the interactions for every 1,000 followers. So this makes this even. So the engagement rate you can compare to other people because it's based on 1,000 followers, which means these numbers are the same. It's apples to apples. Whereas how many comments you get, well, actually, I guess they're all the same because they're all averages. So really, you could compare to others, but still just keep in mind, like Yeti probably has a whole team of people that's doing your social media. If you're a one-person brand, you may not have quite the resources that they do. So kind of give yourself a little grace, but then also, be real too, right? So, Camelback is a pretty big brand, but look how few comments and engagement they get compared to some of these other brands on this list. So just be realistic. Make sure that you are paying attention to your numbers, seeing where you rank among your competitors and or coordinating brands. The other thing you may want to look at is if there is any kind of coordination, any kind of influence on the number of posts impacting the engagement or the number of followers impacting engagement. So for example, maybe you'll see that there's a trend that when you have more followers, you have more engagement. Or you might see that the more posts you have, the better your engagement is. So looking at this, I do see that 28 and 28 here both had an engagement rate of 4 point something. And then the engagement rate at 21 was 3 point something. So this is something to keep an eye on and just see. Now Clean Canteen was at 27. They had a 1.3 engagement, which is lower than the others. But it does make you kind of wonder, is the reason they're getting more engagement because they have more posts? So just keep that in mind. And if you see a trend like that, just try and think about what could cause that and then think through what it means for your brand. Now today's quick question was, do you pay attention to what works for your competitors? Why or why not? Leave a comment and let me know. For more help with Metricool, be sure to watch my last YouTube video about how to post on Pinterest using Metricool. In the next video, we'll be discussing how to increase Instagram engagement rate using Metricool to analyze data. If you're ready to start tracking your competitors with Metricool, be sure to click the link in the description to sign up and try the free account right now. Your challenge for today, this is what you guys all wait for at the end, right? Your challenge for today, so you can implement today's tactics, is to find 5 competitors and 5 coordinating accounts to track and plan to investigate them once a month for ideas. So that's 10 total accounts, 5 competitors, 5 coordinating brands that you should go ahead and locate and figure out right now. Take a look at their social media, see what they're doing, and see if that gives you any ideas for your own brand. Don't forget to live your dream every single day, and I will see you in the next video.